I'm Patrick Watson, I'm an astrologer, and you're watching Big Fat Astro Vlog. And today I'm going to be talking about Venus Retrograde for the month of October 2018 for all Virgo Risings out there. So, Venus is going retrograde in the month of October 2018. This is the big astronomical event that everyone's talking about, so I figured I'd just speak about it from the perspective of everyone's rising sign. So, what Venus typically does is it brings things together. It makes things nice, pleasant, sweet, awesome. It does all these things that are typically expected to do when Venus is traveling direct. Now, during the 40-day periods, 5 times every 8 years, Venus is retrograde. This is the rarest retrograde, and basically it just appears as if it's going backward through the sky as we pass it. Because basically it's when Venus travels between between Earth and the Sun. So it appears as if it's going backwards, and this has an astrological significance. So when it's going backwards, we would similarly expect its significations to kind of go a bit awry, or be somewhat unexpected, or contrary to what we would normally expect with it going direct. So how does it do this? Well, basically, if you think about it like this, Venus is like two people coming together and having a, relationship. But Venus retrograde might be when you add like another person in the equation. If it's a, committed exclusive relationship, then adding another person in is probably going to, cause some issues then about, what that relationship means. So this is a very common thing with Venus retrogrades regarding relationships, is often scandals, not always extramarital affairs or, cheating otherwise. But it's very usually you see this issue of like intimacy, but in this kind of strange way. So for example, back in 2015, the Venus retrograde in Leo, I remember Ashley Madison got hacked. Remember ashleymadison.com, this site for cheating husbands or whatever, and then all that data was made available so everyone could find out who was trying to cheat on their spouse. So it brought up this issue of intimacy, but like in a really kind of contrary to what we would expect type of context. And I think we can even see some echoes of this right now in this moment during this, as we're going into this Venus retrograde. We're seeing, this very big focus on sexual assault, sexual crimes, sexual allegations, and part of this is due to the Venus Mars square, so it has to do with these sort of transgressions or crimes, of sex. But sorry, my phone keeps going off. Let me just check that, make sure nothing's blowing up. Okay, well, all right. Okay, I see. It's just that. Okay, someone's liking all my tweets. Let's talk about now what Venus means for you more specifically as a Virgo rising. So, with Virgo rising, Venus has two very specific roles in your chart, and that is the parts of your life which are ruled by Venus. So, first off, we have Libra, which is ruled by Venus. That's your second house, and your second house is to do with like your money and your stuff, your things, your possessions, whereas Venus also rules Taurus, which has to do with travel, higher education, belief, issues of belief and philosophy. So that encompasses then kind of cultural issues, religion, politics, law. The house that contains this notion of like foreigners or foreign places, people who are obviously foreign to you, not objectively. Some people are foreign to everyone. Everyone is foreign to someone, rather. So with Venus going retrograde, it's going to kind of take both of these topics, and something is going to be askew about them. So let's start off with the 9th house. So with Venus going retrograde in the 3rd house and ruling the 9th, we might expect, well, we might expect that this is like a time where you might be going somewhere, and maybe more specifically going somewhere and either having trouble or having unusual or remarkable social encounters with people from other cultures. Now, if you're not traveling in this time, this also has something to do with your second. So the second house, as we said, was about possessions and money and stuff. So with Venus going retrograde in the second, in the house of your third, which contains this notion of like friends and mobility in school, I mean, it's almost like, I can almost imagine something like, you loan your friends some money and like they don't pay it back, or like they're being kind of asses about it or something, and this causes like a big social crisis, this problem, this falling out, as it were, over this issue of money, or maybe you borrowed someone's car and like you had an accident with it or something like that, something that some kind of bond is broken, some social boundary is being crossed, and it has to do with these notions of travel, and especially short distance travel, since that's the notion of the third house, and then also to do with money. So maybe this is like something connects these three topics in a way that will only make sense to you once you're already in the middle of it. And I guess I should outline when exactly this is all happening. So Venus goes retrograde on October 5th. Right now it's stationing, so it's close to the actual time that it's going to be going retrograde, and it's going to be retrograde for about 40 days. So we're going to see Venus is going retrograde through the sign of Scorpio and eventually enters Libra and finally stations direct pardon me, on November 16th, it looks like. Yeah, November 16th is when actually finally stations direct. We'll talk a little bit more about what that Venus direct station will look like next month, but what we should know is that for the month of October, almost exclusively in Scorpio, from 10 degrees of Scorpio to the interior conjunction with the Sun at around 3 Scorpio, it looks like, and then it finally enters Libra around Halloween. So, yeah, there's going to be some kind of connection between these three topics, and it'll involve some kind of socially improper or socially challenging episode that concerns travel and possessions and money, and so question of values and things like that. Now, if you want to learn more about what it specifically might mean for you, it may have some relevance for relationships. You just have to check back. Venus has an 8-year cycle. So every 8 years, Venus will be retrograde back in the same sign that it was previously. So if you look back 8 years, in 2010, October, November, it was retrograde in Scorpio. If you look back in 2002, Venus was retrograde in Scorpio. If you look back 8 years before that, 1994, Venus was retrograde in Scorpio. So you can kind of look back at those periods, October to November of those years, and you may see kind of a pattern emerge of some sort. Especially if you have planets in Scorpio, in those early degrees of Scorpio, or aspecting them. So let me know in the comments to what degree you feel comfortable sharing your story of what your Venus retrograde is about. I'd love to get all the gossip, but yeah, some of them may be, some of these transits can be pretty personal. So, in any case, so that's what I have to say about Venus retrograde for everyone with Virgo rising. Thank you for watching. See you next time.